Tatsuki Fujimoto is now Tatsuki Fuji Goto. I am loving his developments in part 2 with Chainsawman. The build-up and pacing is incredible, leading us to the most recent chapter with chapter 5, Save the Cat. There's a lot of potential Fujimoto can unlock with all the crazy going on because Denji is now back into the story and literally crashed onto the scene. It's very hype. But what I really enjoy is Asa's development and her growth in her short debut in the series. This chapter was incredible, and it feels like Fujimoto just loves making characters converge in a chaotic array of paths. But I'm really loving Asa's story so far. So to make up for a bit of the Chainsaw Man content that I missed out on, I want to discuss a bit about Asa and Denji, starting with Asa. I love Asa's character. And sometimes I do see like fans talk about the focus of what's going on in part 2 and they want Denji to be the focus. Of course he's coming back now, but they want him to be reintroduced back into like the main swing of things. But Asa's dynamic is so incredibly natural and well written in Fujimoto style. Asa Mitaka, for me, is already one of the best Chainsaw Man characters, and that's amazing considering her character debuted in 5 chapters. I just see that potential. There's a ton of subtle details about Asa's identity and personality written to her that gave Asa so much substance. And Asa is a very self-contained girl. She's very disconnected from people and pushes them away. Although at the same time, she wholeheartedly, deeply cares about what people think about her. Asa has this unhealthy amount of anxiety toward that and toward her peers, toward her future, toward her life. And now the War Devil has made itself host to her, giving her more to worry about in this dark world of devils. And Asha, she's very tolerant with the War Devil. She tries to keep her head down just through all throughout her life. Keep her head down, her mouth shut, try to be this goody two-shoes, so to speak. But if you notice the last couple of chapters, there's things about her that she will rebuttal. She'll get agitated over, emotional over. And this is both good and bad. She is such a reserved girl and like a worrywart. Kind of reminds me of Kobeni in a way, but she's also able to push people away and get an attitude about some things. And she does this a lot with the War Devil and how immoral and deceptive the War Devil Yoru is. But unfortunately in their situation, they're stuck together, and with their relationship, it's like it's become less life-threatening and more like a burden or this annoyance. Unlike the initial impression of the War Devil Yoru, she is more suggestive as an entity and less controlling than you might imagine. They often go back and forth like siblings, and Yoru deals with Asa's weaknesses to keep up the facade of being human, if it will help her goal of getting to Chainsaw. Of course, Asa really doesn't care about Yoru or school or devil. She's just pressured into the situation. It's just a lot for her in her life right now. But there is some light in the dark with Yuko. And Yuko is so incredibly pure. I love that Fujimoto put her in. She's literally a ball of light in this Chainsaw Man world. It's so wholesome. Everyone at school side eyes and judges Asa secretly because of the Bucky incident, but Yuko does not care. She wants to be her friend genuinely, and that's really, really good for Asa because now she has the opportunity to make connections, to make memories. She won't have to worry all the time. She can be happy. And with Fujimoto, we can't have anything nice, and that is a huge death flag. Fujimoto said we will have none of that. And recently we've seen that Yoru is trying to pressure Asa to kill Yuko and make her into a weapon. That's a brutal thought. And of course this is quickly dismissed by Asa, but now we have the idea and the constant pressure of Yoru's brutality and how dark things can turn. In chapter 5, we get a lot of insight into Asa's trauma. In the midst of running from the Bat Devil, Yuko gets hurt And once again, Yoru tries to influence Asa to kill her and transform Yuko so they can fight the bat. And with Yoru, of course she doesn't care, but it's more like a self-preservation thing. That's her top priority, to preserve both of their lives. She doesn't really understand Asa's erratic and weak human behavior, but what she did reveal was Asa's inner feelings and what they are. They are both one and the same. And I love what Fujimoto incorporated here. Asa is not sorry for killing Bucky. She's sorry that everyone knew about it, and now they judge her. They look at her differently. Inside Asa, there's like this natural bias inside her. She's very selfish. It's only natural, and it makes her feel more real. And she even made a promise to live more selfishly. And now the choice is being presented before her as she thinks back to her brief experiences. But Asa actually chooses to deny the War Devil and risk her own life and run to try and save her friend Yuko. But when she starts this heroic act of saving her friend, suddenly she trips and falls, and this is the root of her trauma. She remembers in the most crucial times in her life, she fails, she falls, she trips up bad. And we get glimpses of her birthday. She drops the cake, a school race, she falls in the end, and finally the most traumatic event is when Asa's mother was killed by a devil. In a flashback, her and her mom were running from the sheer calamity of the typhoon devil, and young Asa decides to rescue a cat that was injured. She saves the cat, but she trips in this critical moment, slowing them down, resulting in a situation where her mother pushed Asa out of danger and the mother got killed. So there's some deep-rooted trauma in her life and the feeling of failure, and her failure and her slip-up caused her mother to die, and that guilt stays with Asa. And it's revealed that she even tried to push Yuko away, but with Yuko, their relationship is unconditional. This is why I like Yuko so much. Their feelings don't have to be mutual. As long as Yuko's heart is in the right place, she doesn't care what Asa or what anyone else thinks. That in and of itself is actually inspiring, and it actually inspires Asa. So right here, right now, even if she makes mistakes, she believes if her heart is in the right place, she will keep going no matter what. And what an incredible vibe from Asa. I love her character. Even when it might seem easier to listen to Yoru and give into that, but in a way that selfishness was used in that moment to save her friend Yuko. And they did end up getting swallowed by the bat. And now Denji made it back into the story, literally crashing into the scene. The way Fujimoto portrays Denji is like this high intensity, all gas, no break, just chaos. Like we're peering into like news coverage because it's all Chainsawman violence. It's kind of hard to explain because we're not really in his POV, but his fight indirectly causes Yuko and Asa to be saved as the Bat Devil is killed in Denji's battle versus the Cockroach Devil. And what a wicked design. It's truly monstrous. Kurorushi, eat your heart out, because this giant is truly what the incarnation of human fear looks like. This fight is very grand. Fujimoto is gifted in his impact panels and the choreography, and this clash is pretty spectacular. But what I like now is seeing Denji's mentality. Thinking about Denji, he's like virtually like this god. He's an idol in the world of Chainsaw Man. He's famous. So the Roach Devil asks Denji why he sides with the humans and is under the impression that Denji is this hero or trying to be this superhero-like guy. So he gives Denji a moral dilemma. Taking a child with a bright future in a car full of elderly grannies, he gives Chainsaw the choice of which one will he save as he drops the two options to their death. But you know what Denji, the based hero of hell, did? He didn't give a crap about the people as he continued to brutally body the living hell out of the devil in awesome panels. Denji is in his element. He is the Chainsaw Man. And funnily enough, we see the hilarious outcome of the victims as they lay violently dead on the pavement. It's cruel, but in the last moment to end the scene, Denji genuinely saves a cat that was caught in the chaos. And this is peak Denji energy right now. This goofball is the most shallow, boyish, unapologetic teen main character I've ever read. It's almost scary how apathetic he is, just pure based teen desire and strength. I love it. I really like how the media is portraying Chainsaw Man as a hero when in reality he's just purely going by the flow. He does not care at all what lives he steps on. But I'm curious on how Denji is impacted by his fame. Is the chainsaw weaker? We know devils grow weaker when their fear isn't as high. Is he affected by Chainsaw Man's relevance? Because Denji is still looking incredibly strong, but he still may be affected by his own popularity. And another big thing I'm thinking about at the moment is the scene with this cat. I believe it's like a Siamese breed based on the markings, but I say that because it looks a lot like Power's devil form, the little marks on her arms and her tips. And Power has made a contract with Denji to find her new form in the future. And this is probably just some random cat, but Denji might have been reminded of Power when he saw it or something like that. But I think Power's reintroduction will be pretty impactful. And I haven't even considered the possibility that the Blood Devil could manifest as anything, any species, any gender, anything. So I fully expect Fujimoto to create some wild possibilities there. But even more than that, I like to see that. I'm hyped for the eventual convergence between Asa and Denji because Yoru wants Chainsaw Man bad. And Asa's impression or interaction could mean a lot. I'd imagine Yoru would seize Asa's body the moment Chainsaw was in her grasp. Like she'd be kind of reckless in a way. But War Devil, if she couldn't take on the bat, she's not ready for Chainsaw. And they would likely need human weapons, which is super dark and twisted, making all of their encounters probably going to be very messed up, especially if loved ones are involved like Yuko. But I'm loving Asa's characters. I'm loving this chapter. Fujigoto is dropping heat. It's super cool. Denji is back into the story. But I think we really are gonna stay with Asa for a decent chunk in part 2. I really like her POV. Even when the main character is back, having Asa take the lead is very bold, and I think that's super interesting. That's a very interesting take that more authors should try. But just to let you guys know what's going on, I'm kind of new to Chainsaw Man, so my content on it might be kind of sparse. I can't really promise that this will be like a week-to-week thing, and I'll talk about Chainsaw Man when I do talk about it. But I just want to keep it as an option and probably do more collected chapter videos like this, talking about the story in general, because it's really one of my favorite mangas at the moment. It's very hype. But thank you guys for watching. This has been Enemy Stand User, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.